Affection never outlasted need. This was the first lesson the city taught me the hard way. The vast majority of us are merely pawns in someone else's game. I'm your host, Melanie.
And I'm Tiffany.
And we are two outdoorsy bookish baldies.
And this is Words in the Wild. Rickety, rickety, ready. It's season 2. It's season 2. I'm so happy. It's season 2. We made it through the motherland. And we're back, 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 baby.
Woo!
Just need to get that out of my system. Feels good to be back.
Yeah. You and this gigantic straw.
Silicone, baby. Silicone.
Nice.
Gotta keep that tea intact.
Planet Earth.
No, so when you drink tea, you know, hi folks. I know we're just in this, but
You're just jumping right in.
Tea stains your teeth, and you should drink tea from a straw. I don't know if people know that or not, but
coffee too, I'm assuming then.
Coffee especially.
You're like, you can tell when somebody doesn't drink coffee through a straw.
Look, no judgment. You know, that's up to you and your dental hygienist. But me, myself, personally, I like to drink tea from a straw because I like to drink a lot of tea.
Yeah.
So.
Word. Cool.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm well. I'm fine. I'm okay.
I'm well. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm good. I'm terrible.
Just got progressively worse.
I feel like when you say I'm good and your voice gets really high, that's how I know you're lying. But okay.
I'm doing all right.
It's 2026.
It's 2026.
We haven't done this since 2025.
I know. A whole year ago.
I know. We're back.
But yeah, 2026. Happy New Year to the folks, to the people them.
Thank you for allowing us to take a nice little mini hiatus while we regroup, rebrand, and reinvest in our lives a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like my New Year was really good. It was cute. Yeah, I like hung out in Santa Fe and like went to like a little party, and like it was just really nice to have time off of work. I went roller skating almost every day.
Oh yes, that's your thing now.
Yeah, it's been really fun. So yeah, now every week I try to teach myself like a new trick. So I've figured out backwards cross pulls. I figured out forward crossovers. I'm trying to learn the strut walk.
I have no idea what any of this is, but it sounds very
my
fascinating.
Roller skaters out there. And I'm also you know the moonwalk, so I'm trying to learn how to moonwalk on skates too.
I just saw MJ on Broadway.
Wow.
So I saw a lot of moonwalking.
Wow, nice. Yeah. So I think all in all I'm in good spirits. Super stoked to be back. Yeah, and I'll be roller skating again this afternoon as soon as we're done. So that makes me feel good.
Skates on the mind.
How are you? How is MJ? How is your new year kicking off?
I feel great. I, have started doing daily meditation for 2026. Specifically like affirmations towards 2026 being a positive year, a good year, a year of self, a year of prioritizing the things that bring me joy and not doing things. So I've been like towards the end of last year, I had been shedding a lot of things that felt angsty to me. And I need everything that is in my current life to feel like the color yellow. I don't know. I've been very like, I used to write poetry, and I've been very, part of me wanting to change the name and thinking about how much I loved words my whole life. Like I have these books of when I got admitted into these poetry. It was a scam. I'm sorry. You basically paid to get your poems in a book and you felt cool about it, but it's fine. I still felt like I was a great writer. I'm not, but I don't know. I just been very enamored with words. And so I don't know. I'm feeling good this year about a lot of the direction and choices that I'm making. I've been inspired. I took a part-time job at a library, and
Mm.
it's interesting because as much as I have been promoting libraries all last season, now being in one a few days a week, I really understand the ecosystem of libraries and like their sustainability and how they're funded,
Cool.
and just it's very fascinating. So all I'll say is definitely support your local libraries, and there's way more resources at libraries than I even knew. Obviously, it varies where you are, but one thing I'll say is like our library has a library of things section where you can rent a power washer, a sewing machine, a
What?
Cricut, which I've been wanting to buy a Cricut, but I refuse to spend.
What is a cricket?
Um, it's like it's a crafting device that allows you to print onto things. So like if you wanted to
Huh.
make shirts and things, I don't know. But it's
Yeah.
really it's cool.
Oh.
And so yeah, so I feel good. And yes, I this past week I went to see MJ the musical on Broadway at the Neil Simon Theater in Manhattan. And oh my God, the costume design, the set design, and the music design was absolutely stunning.
Mm.
Now the individual who played Michael, I here's the thing.
Mhm.
I always struggle with these types of plays because no one is going to sound or perform like Michael. Now, this kid's performance was on point,
Mm.
and honestly, his vocals weren't bad either. Where they kind of lost me a little bit was in just his speaking voice.
Hmm.
Um, I know because he was trying to emulate Michael's voice, he was very quiet. So I missed a lot of what he was saying at times.
Oh.
And then he also kind of had like a lispy thing that I felt like was him trying to sound like Michael, not like he had a lisp. But I'm like, Michael didn't have a lisp, as far as I know. Maybe he did. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. But
I didn't
so
think that.
that was probably the thing that would make it like a 9 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
But my goal is to start going to Broadway once a month.
Ooh.
Like I actually prefer dramas over musicals.
Huh.
Um, but when I enjoy a musical, like I really enjoy it, especially when I'm like, so you want to be starting something, you
Yeah,
got to
you
be
can sing
starting
along.
something, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's
I need to
nice.
go to karaoke. Like it reminds, like, so like when I know the
That's
music of the
fun.
musical, like I saw Wicked before I knew Wicked was like a thing. I saw Wicked
Yeah.
maybe 10 years ago. I can't even tell you, but I enjoyed Wicked because the theater that it was in like was massive, and these people were flying across the stage. Like
Cool.
it was like the Lion King. Like they were these
Oh,
massive
The Lion King
theaters,
was
and
so good.
yeah.
I
But
finally saw that one.
the Lion King is great. I actually low
Yeah.
key kind of want to see it again because it has been many, many years ago. But yeah,
Yeah.
like The Color Purple, which we'll talk about in our, alternate podcast episodes when we do our, but
Yeah.
I'm reading The Color Purple. And so it's just interesting how different the movies and the plays. Um,
Did that hit Broadway too? The Color Purple?
oh,
Oh,
yes.
I didn't
Yo,
realize that.
yo.
So many things have been on Broadway.
When
Wow.
I saw it on Broadway, I want to say it was Fantasia, and
Whoa.
it was the girl from Orange is the New Black, like the heavy set. I
Oh,
can't think of her
mm-hmm.
name. I think she
Danielle
played,
Brooks, I want to say
yes,
is her real
yes,
name.
Danielle
Yeah.
Brooks.
Uh-huh.
Yo, she can sing. Like I mean,
Yeah.
no, she can sing. That performance made me feel like she should not be in TV. She needed to stick to theater. Cause like I thought she was
Wow.
like a good actress. I wasn't like blown away with her in Orange is in the New Black, but it wasn't. But her performance in The Color Purple,
Wow.
that like whoever was in that original Color Purple, because it's still they changed the actors and performers or whatever, but that
Yeah.
was so good. So
Yeah.
good. Like so good. And so yeah,
Wow.
that's gonna be my thing. I forgot I love theater. And so again,
Cool.
this is 2026 is a year of joy for me, even though
Hell yeah.
this Verizon outage,
Yeah.
these social media outages. I think I saw Twitter was out. I don't even have Twitter, but
Huh.
I am very nervous about this year and this country and everything that's going on. So I am deeply, deeply leaning into as much joy as possible to try to balance out
Hmm.
the not so joyful things. So
Yeah. I hear
that
that.
hits us right on time. We're going to say, look, it's a new season. We're going to stay on top of our timing. We're going to
Yes.
keep our wellness check-ins nice and tight.
Yeah.
But we are starting new, 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 new,
New.
new.
New,
And
new.
yes, so I'm gonna pitch it over to Mel because we are gonna be recording weekly from here on
Hmm.
out. In case you didn't hear our teaser, we
Hmm.
are gonna be diving into a little bit different types of books, and we're
Hmm.
jumping into the fiction game, which low key I'm excited about.
I'm stoked. I'm hyped. Fiction has my heart. Like I love nonfiction. I especially love memoirs and like nonfiction that reads like stories about things that happened, events and things like that. But fiction truly has my heart. This first one is kind of fun because it's like fiction, but
Mm,
it reads like a memoir.
fiction-ish.
Yeah, it's like historical. It's a novel that kind of like is formatted as a memoir and has like a historical fiction-y vibe to it. So yeah, it's kind of like a good transition, I feel like, from like the nonfiction memoir world into like fiction.
It's a very good transition because I was utterly confused. I actually had to like text Melanie and be like, "Wait, is this real or is this a like I'm wait, there's footnotes. Wait,
Right.
what's happening? I'm not I love and you know how much I love footnotes last season. Like I
Yeah,
was in
you
love
were
with the
into them.
footnotes. So to start a book that had the thing that I loved about it,
Yeah,
I love, but it also confused me because I was like, wait, what's happening here? I don't know.
right.
I don't know. And I was like, I don't really care if it's real or fake. I don't actually care. I'm just gonna ride this story out.
Yeah, yeah. We're weaning you off the footnotes.
Okay. Oh no. No, footnotes forever.
But yeah, yeah, as Tiff mentioned this season, yeah, I think yeah, we're dipping our toe into the realm of fiction. I'm really excited about the books that we have, and they're all listed on our website. So get your copies, so that you can like be ready to read along with us. And yeah, the first few episodes of this season, we will be reading My Government Means to Kill Me by Rasheed Newson. So a little bit about the book and the author. My Government Means to Kill Me is, again, like I said, by Rasheed Newson. He is a television writer and producer. I think what he's probably most popular for is co-developing and executive producing a show called Bel Air, if y'all have heard of it. So it was like a dramatized, I don't want to say reenactment, but like a dramatized, what's it called when like they
It was a
redo?
remake,
Yes, there we
technically.
go.
It's a remake of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air,
Yeah, but
but
I think
with
it's
a
more
much
dramatized.
more, yes,
Right.
with a
Okay.
very different style. Whereas Fresh Prince was primarily comedy
And
with
like a
with
sitcom.
with touches of like dramatic themes.
Uh-huh.
Whereas I think this, which I've not actually seen Bel Air, mostly because
Mm.
I never had the channel that Bel Air came on, and I didn't know how to like, sorry, but I didn't know how to bootleg shows at that point. So I may go back and watch it now. One of the things one of our bonus content will be watching shows and movies that derive from books,
Yes,
and
I
sort of
love
marrying
that.
that. So definitely stick with us on all our socials. But anyway,
Ooh.
yes, I have not watched Bel Air, but I've heard great things about it.
Okay, cool. Oh my God, that would be sick to like yeah, to just check that out. But yeah, so this is his debut novel.
Oh wow, what year?
I actually don't. I want to say it came out in 2019. I could be wrong about that, but maybe you can
I
fact.
got it in my whole hands. So
He
it says
said novel.
2022.
World. Okay, 2022. That makes sense then, because it was named one of the 100 notable books of the year by the New York Times in 2022. It was also rated one of the three best books of the year by the Philadelphia Inquirer in 2022. Like I mentioned, it's a novel that's kind of framed as a memoir, and I won't give too much away, but just to kind of like give you an idea of what the book is about. It's basically a story of a young gay black man's coming of age in New York City. And so we have these chapters that are kind of written as lessons, where each chapter, the learner kind of, or the learner, goodness, I'm in work mode, where each chapter, uh, our protagonist experiences some sort of life lesson that kind of like really shapes his identity and who he is. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit about the book. And like I said, we'll be covering it for the next couple of episodes. And this episode in particular, we are covering lessons 1 through 5. So yeah. Shall I dive in then to a little bit about the protagonist?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I told you a little bit about the book. The protagonist. I won't. I'll just kind of like give a quick little summary of our guy. His name. They call him Trey. I actually don't remember what his full name was. He had this like very fancy
I thought did I write his government?
his government.
I don't think I wrote his government name down in my
Hmm.
notes.
Well, his name is Trey. He goes by Trey throughout the entire story. And he comes from a wealthy family, a well to do black family in Indianapolis. I think his mother's like a speechwriter for politicians, and his dad is basically a lobbyist for this big pharmaceutical company. And he spent his whole life in Indiana, just kind of being an outcast as like a queer black man, raised in like a relatively Christian, somewhat conservative black family. And I think there is some other things that got foreshadowed that will come up in the book later on. But one of the really traumatic things that happened to him in his childhood that I think probably drove his decision was when he was 11 years old, his brother died. And we don't know exactly how or what the situation was, but it sounds like he was maybe somewhat involved.
Involved.
There's like
Yeah.
some allusion to that. Um, so yeah, he just kind of like really wants to escape this his background, I think, and like build an identity for himself. And so he rejects his trust fund, his 6-figure trust fund. He's like, no, thanks.
I know. I was like, whoa, okay. Wait, what? I was like, oh, you rich, rich. Like,
Right.
like I knew very quickly he was like not street smart and not like,
Mm, ooh.
whatever. But I was like, clearly you went to private school, but I didn't think he was like private school rich. I just thought
Mhm.
like, sometimes, sadly, sometimes the black folks at the private school, they got that scholarship and
Mhm.
or they're an athlete or whatever.
Mhm.
But I was like, nah, they got money.
Money. Yeah, he got that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air money.
Hmm.
So yeah, he turns down his trust fund and he's decides that he wants to make it on his own. So he moves to New York City with no job, no friends or family, and no plan.
He sounds like me when I moved to New York in 2012.
Wow. Yeah, like a lot of people when they move to New York, I feel like.
Why anybody want to come here with no job? Like that's crazy work. Only I think it's because you can't get a job here unless you live here. So it's
I'm
like,
yeah. Yeah.
oh wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
so yeah, I mean, hopefully that experience, I mean, I think there's parts of that that definitely for sure are relatable to most people of just wanting to feel like I come from this background, but I really want to like shape and form my own identity. And so yeah, that's our protagonist. Yeah, I'm excited to dive into it. So I guess
Let's get into the book.
Yeah, so this season I think we're going to do things a little bit differently where we won't go into like huge deep recaps of each chapter, but I did want to kind of like I really appreciated the way this book was formatted in particular because I think that like the way it's formatted in terms of lessons, it's really easy to like kind of like yeah, just it's really easy to kind of like compartmentalize each chapter in that way. So we won't go into like a super detailed recap, but I'll go through like each of the lessons and then we can kind of just, I don't know, have a quick discussion about like our thoughts or like what kind of things came up for us. Um yeah. So
And we're also going to do more readings from the book this season too. So
yeah.
just
Yeah.
beautiful words. We want to highlight the words.
Oh show. Lesson one, the boss doesn't love you. So the takeaway for me, or like the quote that really resonated for me and like captured this theme, um, and I guess without context, it won't make a whole lot of sense, but essentially, like Trey gets a job, his first job in New York, as a bike courier, and gets into a nasty accident. And once he becomes not useful to his boss anymore. He gets fired and kind of like discarded. She's really affectionate and sweet towards him and then kind of discards him once he's no longer of use to her. And this he summarizes this with a quote that says, "Affection never outlasted need. This was the first lesson the city taught me the hard way. The vast majority of us are merely pawns in someone else's game. Don't get defensive over this point. Embrace it. Once you do, you can begin to manipulate the board. Positioned correctly, pawns can checkmate kings."
I wonder, like, man, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. Just side note, like, this is such a fast read. Like, I'm pretty sure I could have finished this book in a week. I am trying to savor every moment because I am enjoying it so much. And I did feel such a connection. I did not come from money,
Mm-hmm.
but moving to New York and that rat race. Now, the interesting thing is, I think this was like what, the 80s or the late 70s, 80s when he's
It
in New
should have
York.
been the mid to late 80s. Yeah.
Yes. So
Mm-hmm.
he's in New York in the mid 80s and then, fast forward for me, what, 50 years, 30, 40 years later, my math ain't there, but 2012
Mm-hmm.
um you know, I always wanted to work in a certain industry. And one thing we learned from Trey is that Trey wants to work in the music industry, and specifically radio, which is funny because that's what I went to school for. I think that's why like I got so excited because I felt like I kind of saw myself a little bit in Trey,
Mm.
minus the street smarts thing. Like boo boo, I'm just like whoo you,
A
but
little
I
too
too.
trusting.
But I came from the Midwest to the
Mm-hmm.
East Coast
Mm.
with no job, wanting to work in film and television,
Mm-hmm.
um, and realizing quickly that it's not as easy as you think. And people are just kind of very linear. Like this is the job, and I do the job,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I kind of became that and conditioned in that way. Like people,
Mm-hmm.
that whole boss doesn't love you thing is true. Like you're disposable.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
if I can get 10 more people to do this job that you can do, I'm gonna do that. Like it's the loyalty that I think you feel like you get from the Midwest and other slower paced towns,
Mm.
you just don't get from New York City. Like it's very
Yeah.
unforgiving.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I'm curious, like, hearing you say that, if you feel like I mean, I like if the work culture in the Midwest is different. Like if in the Midwest, like working there, there is like that loyalty that you would expect. I've also lived in cities like my entire life, so I think that in general, cities can be like a bit more ruthless and cutthroat. But I've never really had a job where I felt like
Secure.
yeah, like I never really had a job where I felt like I could be a person first. you
Oh,
know,
oh,
you know,
oh, got
just
you.
in that,
Yeah.
it always has felt like for me, pretty much every
You're a
work
pawn.
experience that I've had, yeah, has kind of just felt like yeah, the moment you stop becoming useful to us, you know, or you have a bad day, we don't really care that you had a bad day. Like, can you show up and do the job? No. Okay, bye. Like that's kind of been like the vibe. And I
Yeah.
just feel like when it comes to corporate work, it's like just cutthroat, which is hard. It's hard to like not feel like you can be human when you spend so much of your time there.
You know what's sad? I'll say
Mm,
this.
yeah.
As someone who has managed people for a company in New York,
Mm,
there is this weird numbness you get.
hmm.
And it's like you get so fixed into the job
Hmm.
that, and especially when you take the job home, like it's just hard to like separate. So
Hmm.
I understand that.
Hmm.
And I struggled, and to this day I still do. I struggle with small talk. Like I struggle if
Hmm.
somebody's like, when people are like, "How was your
Water
weekend?"
cooler talk.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
not a not literally my desk in office was right across from the water
Oh
cooler.
my God.
It was
No.
like so annoying. So I had to close
No.
my door. Otherwise, people would sit there and talk to me while they're
Oh my
filling up their
God.
water. And I'm
Oh my
like,
God.
I'm working.
Yeah.
Because I got to the point where I'm like, if I am at work, I am
Yeah.
working.
Yeah.
If I'm not, then let's go to the bar. Like I don't want to
Right.
talk. It's like it's the same thing. Like I don't want to talk about work when I'm not at work,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to talk about non-work things when I'm at work
Yeah.
because I'm at work.
Okay. I hear
And
that.
I don't know. I always felt weird, and I'm getting better because I
Mm-hmm.
am being more like now being an entrepreneur and focusing
Mm-hmm.
things in a little bit different lane. When I'm at
Mm-hmm.
my part-time job, I'm just like, yeah, how was your week? What you do? Girl, what you do? What you do? Like I'll talk, I'll chickity chat
Yeah.
chat. I still feel like I'm wasting somebody's money, but I do think there needs to be a little bit more humanity, especially in the year of 2026.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I
I
feel you.
feel
I'm
you.
with you. Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a balance to strike for sure. Um, lesson two.
Let's go.
Lesson two. Okay. Lesson two. A sanctuary can be a sordid place. So, again, just to give a little bit of context, um, Trey has started frequenting the bathhouses in New
Mm.
York City, which I guess at the
Mount
time,
Morris.
yeah, Mount Morris, which like I read in the footnotes opened in like the 1800s or something like that.
The footnotes were very revelatory, which I assume all the footnote information is factual,
Yes.
correct, right? So that was always
Yes.
interesting to me.
And
Yeah.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, 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 no. I will say like, and if it wasn't exactly factual, they'll say like, this has never been said by this person, but it was person was known to be homosexual or closeted or whatever for their whole
Right.
life.
Yeah. 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 It's the footnotes were great and really interesting. And I believe I haven't actually checked this out because I haven't been on the socials, but I believe that the author actually did like little TikToks or Instagram reels where he like shares a little bit more about each of the footnotes or each of the names that specifically got mentioned. So he gives even more context, which I think is really cool. I love like how detailed and thorough the research is. Um, but Trey starts frequenting the bathhouses and he starts to build a little community there, and everything's going really well for him.
Should we talk about what a
Um,
bathhouse is before, in the
oh,
event that someone is listening to our podcast and has no desire to read the actual books, they just want to hear us key and
yeah,
talk about, because
sure,
I think
yeah.
it is important to give some context because today's bathhouse is not
Hmm.
yesterday's bathhouse.
Fair. That is true. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
love a bathhouse. I'm not gonna lie. Give me a
Today's
Korean.
bathhouse,
Give me a Korean. Yes, I love a Korean bathhouse
like a spa
today.
situation,
Hmm.
right? And versus a bathhouse in the 80s, which was,
Mm. So sounds to me more like a meetup, you know, how you like to go out and do meetups. But in this case, you meet up with other naked folks and decide to partake in a variety of sexual activities of you and that person's choosing, and in some cases, not in your choosing. That person may decide that this is what y'all are doing, but seems to just be like a hookup spot. Is
Yeah.
about as deep as I can get with it.
I
Now
think
this
that
one
works.
particularly was for men, I believe, right?
Yes,
This,
it was
yeah,
for men. And it was at a time where, like, in the 80s, they were like really trying to crack down on like homosexuality and
yeah,
they were trying to like get rid of bathhouses. And I think there's also a lot there with like the AIDS epidemic. So I think
yeah,
this was the city's attempt at like curbing the like their very weak attempt at curbing the AIDS epidemic by like if we can just get rid of places for gay men to hook up, then we can like cure the AIDS epidemic, which is absurd.
yeah,
But they did not shut this one down because it was gay black men, and they were like, "Oh, we don't really care about them,
yeah,
whatever."
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Let them all disappear themselves into AIDS
right,
oblivion, and it's okay.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. So that is terrible and unfortunate, but I do think that there was like, I mean, I think that obviously like closing the bathhouses wasn't the solution to the AIDS epidemic, but it's really unfortunate that like keeping this one open was like indicative of how the city felt about gay black men at the time. Um, but yeah, the great thing about it was that it seemed like it was a place of like real true community, and I love that it was actually a real place. And so Trey attends this place. He goes quite frequently, becomes a regular, starts to build community there, and things are going really well with him. He meets Bayard Rustin, who is an actual real historic figure and helped Martin Luther King Jr. plan the March on
March on
Washington.
Washington. Hmm.
Yeah, it was like a really instrumental figure in planning that and was just like a really instrumental figure during the civil rights era. There's actually an amazing movie about him on Netflix called Rustin. Highly recommend. Maybe that's one we can
We'll
check
throw,
out too.
yeah,
Um,
we'll throw it in the show notes for folks.
yeah. But yeah, Domingo Coleman's in it. He's great.
Oh, I
Anyways,
love him. I love him.
yeah, it's a great movie. But yeah, he didn't get the recognition he deserved, unfortunately, because he was out and gay. But yeah, so Trey is attending this bathhouse. Things are going great. He meets somebody who he later finds out is probably a sociopath and like a murderer. Um,
Oh, that
and
was
this
all in that
person,
one chapter. Wow,
yeah,
yo, chapter two, I was like, this is crazy. What is happening? I think that's when I texted
right?
you and was like, I've started reading the book. How much can I read? Because it's getting really wild out here.
Yeah. So yeah, he meets this guy who's he's really intrigued by and like wants to hook up with, and
Was it
then
All
finds
Star?
out, yes, All Star, and then finds out that All Star is like just incredibly manipulative and like a psychopath. And years later, he suspects he hears about this like serial killer on the news and he connects the dots and has a strong, it hasn't been confirmed because this serial killer was a real killer in the 80s and his identity never got figured out, but he strongly suspects that this is the person that he interacted with in the bathhouse all those years ago.
And this person
um
attacked him.
Yes, this person attacked him, and his community that he made at the bathhouse comes in, jumps in, protects him in that moment, like literally chases off All Star. And, he decides to kind of like continue going to the bathhouse and he continues to build that community. And he feels really held and protected and safe by this community that looked out for him during a really scary experience. And so, again, the lesson was called A Sanctuary Can Be a Sordid Place. And the quote that I took away from this one was only in that rundown bathhouse was there a group of people who I could count on to care enough about me to get involved, to come to my defense. It felt liberating to know that I could warrant that kind of protection. I'd found the haven for my mind, body, and soul. Everyone needs such a place. Don't reject the space you gravitate toward just because the windows aren't stained glass and the congregation isn't saved.
Reach,
Mm,
bars, all the
yeah.
things. My
Yeah.
goodness. You know, this was interesting to me because I think a lot, I think Trey's affinity for this space was more so rooted in the fact that in Indiana, he was invisible.
Mm.
Like one of my favorite books is The Invisible Man, and I've always, as someone who has always like had their own identity issues
Mm.
of not feeling like pretty or feminine or this or that, it was so interesting to me to see this metamorphosis, and it was because of the attention.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think you have to, it's almost like when you go from like having no boobs to being a triple C, or
Mm-hmm.
or when you just when your braces come off, or like something, when all of a sudden when you
Mm.
first felt like you weren't seen and then now everybody sees you.
Mm-hmm.
He became addicted to this place because it's like there's nowhere else in my entire life I've been seen in this way.
Mm-hmm.
And that is like a thing you don't even know you need until you have it, and then it's like a drug.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh my God, this is why people, when they say like people were cocky or conceited, it's like once they're so used to people like fawning over them, or like, hot boys, or people who are just like, I'm bad, I'm this, I'm that. Like there's cocky and there's confident. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he just got to the point where it felt so good to be wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and that it wasn't like something he had to hide, and people weren't ashamed. Everybody was just like wow. And it was like freaking Christmas Day every day
Mm-hmm.
up in Mount Morris.
I know he was up in there all the time. Yeah, I feel like for me, it like I don't know. It definitely brought up these feelings. Yeah, I too have like kind of I feel like struggle with identity and like struggle with um I don't know, just feeling like I don't want to say an outcast necessarily, but like just feeling like do people get me? Do people see me? Like
Like an
am I
alien.
weird?
I used to think I was an alien, but
Yeah.
E.T. was also my favorite movie. So
Oh, cute.
I fully resonate. I think you're just trying to say like your level of weird
I was like, does
didn't,
anybody else on the same frequency of weird
yeah,
as me?
yeah.
Like, yeah. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I think it's just this idea of like, I think in our minds, like, especially with social media and like celebrity and all of this stuff, we're constantly inundated with like these messages of who we should be or what's normal or what's pretty or what's attractive. And I feel like it's easy to like want to seek out a community that kind of like reflects what society says is cool or interesting or like smart or funny or whatever. And I think the message here for me was just like, you know, try just be yourself and your people will come to you. And like when they do come to you, when you find people that you feel safe with, like get into it, like I don't know. I think it's just easy to think like especially this kind of comes to
Embrace it.
mind. Yeah, embrace it.
Embrace it. Don't
Yeah,
feel ashamed because it doesn't fit the status quo, or
right.
because you may fear that someone doesn't like or accept what it is that you accept about yourself and the community that you've chosen.
Right, like because almost like don't judge a book by its cover. Like just because your community doesn't necessarily look like or your partner or your romantic partner doesn't look like just because the people that like fit for you and that make sense for you don't necessarily look like or come in the package that you were expecting them to come in. Like, if it feels right, like, and they feel good and they make you feel good and seen, like, go with that and like accept that and let it be. And yeah, I think that that's like a lesson that I've definitely had to learn, not just in like, platonic friendships, but also in romantic friendships as well. So yeah, that one definitely hit for me for sure. Cool. Well,
Moving
lesson
on
three.
along.
Look at us go.
We try not to
We're-
have 2-hour episodes, y'all, but
yeah,
we gonna make it
we got
together.
it. We're doing the thing. Lesson three, don't wear straight jackets. Oh, yeah. Wow. This one, just to kind of sum it up real quick. Yeah, I think that Trey has always been considered more effeminate his entire life. And I think sexually, he's always kind of been uh, a bottom. And he starts doing work that really like sculpts his body and turns him into this just like hot
Yeah.
bod.
Gains on gains on gains on gains.
Right.
My
And he
little
just
baby's growing up.
yeah, so he goes from kind of being maybe this like skinny, like I don't know, like more just like slender feminine person to like having this like muscular physique and being cut and ripped. And
Wasn't that
people
because
start
he was
seeing him
wasn't
differently.
that because he was working at the was it the cemetery where he was mowing lawns that he started to have this
Yeah.
natural workout? Okay, that's what it was.
Uh-huh.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, and he started getting fit. And
Yeah.
people started looking at him differently and he could pick up on it and tell. So all of a sudden, he goes from being like this bottom to like having the opportunity
I'm
to
a
start
super
like topping
top.
people. Yeah, and just yeah, like I don't know, having a different sexual experience and I think it just changed the way that he saw himself and his identity and it opened up like new experiences for him like sexually, romantically and just identity wise. And so the quote that I took away from this was my whole life I'd been viewed as a sissy. Some people found my effeminate mannerisms disgusting. Others found them alluring. I came to believe that I had been stamped a certain way and that the stamp was immutable. We are not so narrowly defined as society would have us believe, yet the limits placed on our appetites, talents, and potential are implanted in us when we are children, too young to recognize the prisons built with words. We could blame it all on our families, but then we'd never find the keys to unlock ourselves. The awful genius of our confinement is that we are both the prisoner and the warden. We tell ourselves daily that we aren't free to do this or that because we are this, that, or this. To escape such limited thinking, we don't have to look far. The keys are in our pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't talked about this yet,
Mm-hmm.
but almost from the minute he got there, because we can't get into every single detail of the book. That's the whole
Mm-hmm.
point. We want y'all to read the book.
Mm-hmm.
But when he met his friend,
Mm-hmm.
we haven't talked about his homie. And
Oh, Gregory.
yes, because this is the chapter that they move in together in Soho.
Oh.
I'm just going off of my notes, but
Because like before, Gregory was just crashing,
yes,
and then
yes,
right,
Gregory was just living wherever Gregory
he
could
was a
live.
squatter.
Yes, yes, running up charges on a credit card, being a sugar baby. But I think what I just think is interesting for me because I never liked that you had to fit one mold. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
I never wore a dress until I was a
Mm-hmm.
senior in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like crazy for people. They're like, why? I never felt comfortable wearing a dress. And I was happily a tomboy and I embraced the identity until I realized that guys don't want to date tomboys. And there wasn't that attention. And then I wore that dress.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw how people acted and I was still utterly uncomfortable. It was the most uncomfortable I've ever been in my entire life was wearing that dress at that point. But I remember a year out from high school running into people from high school. Mind you, I went from an A cup to a C cup over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was around female cousins who liked to play dress up because they were like, "Oh, you're so little," and they acted like I was a doll. And I don't know. It's weird. It's almost overnight that you can have this transformation and feel like people will only see you one way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really up to you how you want to be seen. I mean, I feel the same way with my transition to a baldy. Like
Yeah.
I you couldn't have told me how I would see myself after doing a thing like this. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wait. I love myself, and I think before I couldn't even like definitively say those words.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I get where Trey is coming from. It's just like don't feel like you have to wear a mask. Like be whatever makes you feel the best you can be,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I think especially like as Black women, like that resonates for me because I feel like society loves to tell Black women in particular who we are and who we can be and like limit us like culturally, athletically, like academically, like it's just like there's so many limitations. And like I think about for sure when you mentioned like the baldy thing, it was like that opened up and unlocked like a new level of like my identity. Like it was the first time that I felt like beautiful, like for real, like
Same.
through and through.
Which is kind of crazy. I don't
Yeah.
understand it. I don't
Yeah.
understand it because I still do think that there is a large segment of people that will look at us and not think that.
Hmm.
But I'm more okay with that than I've ever been.
Yeah.
Like I've had
And
weaves, braids,
yeah.
locks. I have done
Yeah.
it all. And not one of those have made me look in the mirror and be like, "What damn? Who is that Bia across the like
Yeah.
it's crazy." And I think
Yeah.
only until you go through it will you ever understand because most people are like, "Girl, bye, I ain't cutting my hair."
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. Like, I think that it is for sure like the most feminine that I've ever felt. Like, I felt when I cut my hair that really, like, I don't know. It just like stripped me of like any sort of like hiding, like it just revealed me, and it like was the most feminine I've ever felt. It's the most myself I've ever felt. And I definitely hear you in that. Yeah, there are certain people that might look at us and think like, "Oh my God, like how could you do that?" Like that doesn't signal beauty to me. But also like and maybe this kind of like is to Trey's point where like it took maybe like the outside world kind of like reflecting something back to him. Like it took people like looking at him differently and seeing his physique for him to be like, oh wait, maybe I can like be different, maybe I can step out of like the identity that I feel like I've been trapped in. And it's like I guess to that point, like I actually I've never been complimented so much in my life since I like cut my hair. Like people, so like, I mean, without at the risk of sounding vain, I think that like there was also just this like I think that like me cutting my hair caused like this outer reflection that like caused people who saw me to like reflect back to me like the beauty that they saw, if that makes sense. I
No, it
don't know.
does. I mean, I think
Yeah.
we talked a little bit about this last season because
Yeah.
I cut my hair during the season.
Yeah.
So it was a bit jarring to
Yeah.
get the attention.
Hmm.
You know, it's weird because well, it's winter, so I don't leave the house. But it was weird over the summer
Hmm.
to have people staring, but doing so admirably.
Hmm.
Whereas before it was almost like you were invisible. It's just like, oh, just
Hmm.
some regular girl with locks or like that. Like there was nothing special and you do feel almost cocky, like almost
Hmm.
like
Yeah,
and to
I
the
am
sense
that
of
girl.
yeah, I don't care if a guy would prefer a girl with hair. Like
Yeah.
cool, bet,
Yeah.
do you. Cause that ain't it for me. Like if this all of this looks it's like I know my personality is strong and I'm
Hmm.
good with that. I
Hmm.
know I'm smart and
Hmm.
I look good. It ain't
Hmm.
gotta be your cup of tea, but
Hmm.
I have felt so negatively about myself for way more of my life than not,
Hmm.
to where this is almost I have no words for what it is or how it feels because there's such a significant difference. And I
Hmm.
think Trey, when you spend most of your life
Hmm.
like he said, in a straitjacket, trying to perform, not feeling like you are who you say you are. And then all of a sudden, people see you a certain way, and then you start to see yourself a certain way.
Hmm.
I don't care how anybody sees me after that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I've gotten enough to fill my cup to where like this is it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it or leave it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
this feels good on every level and for so many
Yeah.
levels. Like
Yeah. And I
bye.
think that like what we hear from other people like is like when people compliment us in that way, like I truly believe that it's like they are just reflecting back what we are giving out. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, and I feel like that confidence is there and people just like it changes you. Everybody cut your hair off. Like,
Team
it's
Team
like
Baldies here is like we're starting a Baldy brigade. All right, next
yes.
step,
Ooh.
cut your hair. Yeah.
I love that. But yeah, I don't know. This one also resonated with me. Just really quickly, like, when it came to things like climbing or when it came to things like outdoor adventure, like that was another area that this really resonated where it was like, I feel like for a long time, you know, like nobody expects to see a black. I feel like a black woman is the last person that you expect to see in a climbing gym. And it's like empowering as hell to be able to like go in there and be like, I know how to do all this stuff. I know how to lead. I know I'm climbing 12s. Like I'm out here sending and like
Yeah. And
and what?
you see
Like
this back, right? You see this back.
yeah.
I mean, because that's all you can see. Like I
Right?
know you see
You
what's
see these
happening back
arms.
here. Yes. Like are these arms arming or like what is happening? Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
I felt
So
in Europe when I was in Amsterdam and there was zero black women, and I mean
mm,
zero.
mm,
Paris, I feel like Paris too.
mm,
I don't recall. I now see black people, but I have not seen a black woman
mm.
in Paris or Amsterdam. And I went to at least five gyms.
Wow.
And yeah, they see you. They
Yeah.
see you.
You see it. You see it. So yeah, I don't know. It's really empowering to like step out of your comfort zone and like step into an identity that like fits, but maybe isn't something that you've been able to embrace before. And so yeah, I love lesson number 3 as well. Um, all right, so we got two more to get through. I'm going to try to get through these fairly quickly. But yeah, lesson 4: enemies have their value. So
Oh
again,
God.
I'll try to keep it to a 30-second context. But basically, Tr- Trey's roommate. Now
Yeah, I
he's a
figured
roommate
this
because
is
he's
why
actually paying rent.
yeah, this is why I figured I had to bring Gregory into the conversation because he's been
Okay.
around. He's been
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. Yeah. So his roommate is a sugar baby. And he's connected to some wealthy white men. That's his preference is like wealthy white conservative men who have a lot of money and are ashamed of their sexuality. Um, and he brings him to a party where he brings Trey to a party and they interact with these like really rich white conservative men who I don't even know how to describe it. They just get into some like really tense conversations around race and
And
uh
AIDS too, and like how to
yeah.
eliminate AIDS. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, some really just like just you can imagine the kind of conversations that they're probably having. And Trey goes toe to toe with them. And he's having so in the background he's having some issues with his current apartment situation. And these men who are like just, kind of like they stand in opposition to everything that Trey represents. Like Trey is like black, gay. At this point, he is like poor. He comes from a wealthy background, but he's choosing to kind of like make it on his own. Um, yeah, and just very liberal, very open. And then these men are like basically the exact opposite of that. And yeah, he basically like is able to get something out of this experience even though these men are terrible and stand in direct opposition to who he is. He's having some issues with his apartment and one of the men that he talks to actually ends up being of some service to him and getting him connected not just with somebody who can potentially advocate for him because he hasn't been paying his rent. So he gets connected to somebody who can like maybe advocate for him and help him get out of like having to back pay his rent. But also ultimately somebody who like changes the trajectory of his life through initially it starts as a rent strike that he stages, but I think that that leads into like some other pretty monumental life-changing experiences for him. So that one was a little bit that one the context I feel like was a little bit more challenging to give, but I do still think that the lesson is really salient. So I will read the quote that really resonated with me from this chapter. So he says, "The fact remains that I should raise a glass and a toast to the vile Bill Buckley, the cowardly Marvin Liebman, and the lascivious, I don't know how you say that word, the lascivious, the
I,
lascivious."
I, sure. Yes. That I'll
Okay.
take it.
the the cowardly Marvin Liebman and the lascivious Tex Udell, men who dedicated their energy and fortunes to politically disenfranchising people like me, for serving as accidental angels in my life. If we never meet our despicable adversaries, we'd never be forced to find out how brave, resilient, and cunning we can be. So, yeah, I mean, basically, he sticks it to Fred Trump, okay?
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
I mean
say it.
they motivated him to take
Yeah.
action.
Yeah, for sure.
And he I think it was, what was it, Ruskin, who really prepared him to
Mm-hmm.
be in that room,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yes.
I think if this was Trey day one, who had just moved to New York and got into that room, he wouldn't have really known how to like stand his ground in that space.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously those challenges were great and it led to a potential solution to his housing crisis,
Mm-hmm.
which is a crisis and continues to be a crisis. This is what's so
Mm-hmm.
fascinating about New York, is that nothing has changed.
Yeah. I'm
I mean,
actually
hopefully something does change now,
yeah. I'm
but
really stoked that like Mondani is mayor.
yeah.
And like I feel like, he's trying to do a lot for tenants in New York because I mean, you lived in New York and as someone who also lived in New York, it is insane how much New York favors landlords and how poorly tenants are, like how bad the tenants' rights are in New York. Like landlords can get away with like, I mean, like unspeakable, putting people through like, no heat because the landlords in New York typically control the heat. They can get away. I remember my first winter in New York, I had no heat for the entire winter. It was like one of the coldest winters in like 20 years, like literally -2 degrees. People froze to death outside their homes, and I didn't have heat in my apartment. I've had friends who didn't have gas in their apartment who've had like, I mean, just all, I'm not even trying to get mad right now, but like the way that landlords are like just like favored by the law in New York is like really, really crazy. And like I've had friends who like, lived in their apartment for months without heat and gas and like tried to like go not paying their rent and were taken to court and charged back rent and like money on top of that. Like it is terrible. It's a really bad situation. And so yeah, hopefully the new mayor can like really make some changes.
And
But
I think it has slightly improved, because I had a landlord situation and I called the number. I don't know. I called the number and said, "Yo, bro is tripping."
yeah.
And he real quickly did
Huh.
something. Yeah, so you can call like the county or something. Like maybe it
Okay.
was Kings County, because I was in Brooklyn, and was
Hmm.
like, "All right, my roof came in, water everywhere. I like, bro, you got to
Yeah.
do something." And
Yeah.
until I called and filed an actual report,
Hmm.
I think they are starting to do something. I think
That's good.
the actual trash situation of New York in general, though, is that while they favor, whether they favor landlords or not, they favor real estate
Hmm.
historically.
Yeah.
And unless you're wealthy,
Hmm.
you're kind of effed. Like,
Yeah.
and so it's like, yes, they have these low income units and spaces, and they have a whole big lottery system. I applied for the lottery many times and never got a unit up until I was no longer qualified. Literally, I got a lottery like 4 years later, some years later.
Wow.
They called me and said, "Hey, your number is up." And I'm
Wow.
like, I don't even qualify for the minimum financial, like I make too much money.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, there's
Yeah.
no way I could live off of the amount of money that y'all are saying that this unit is. I would be like like there's no way I couldn't have done it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's crazy. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's good to know that like changes are being made because yeah, I think that it is really tragic and that is totally a tangent from
yeah,
what the
yeah,
point of this lesson was. But I just went off because
yeah.
I feel like I had like some trauma wounds like resurface. I felt triggered by that one. But yeah, I think like to your point, like it, you know, he had community that really prepared him for this and that being put in that situation, like it was like you know, I despise these men. I despise everything that they stand for, but also like it is almost like in spite of them that I am like, you know, really stepping into my own and like just seeing how powerful I can be. So, yeah. Yeah. All right. Lesson 5, our final lesson for this episode. A big lie can build character. So, as we mentioned for the last lesson, um,
He was trying to find out who his landlord was.
yeah, yeah. So his landlord is the spawn. No, it's Satan himself,
I know. Yeah.
because our president is the spawn of Satan. So,
Yes. Yes.
um, yeah. So his landlord is that man's daddy. Um, and yeah, he goes down to he gets to he gets connected through Marvin Liebman in the last chapter with somebody who can kind of who should be able to like who has connections in the real estate world and is should be able, I think in theory, to help him you know, get out of paying his rent. Um and you know, Trey just kind of like he's playing poker right now. He is like responding to the guy and just kind of like, you know, he doesn't know anything about rent strikes. He doesn't know the lingo, but he can see that like this man that he's talking to is nervous and that um yeah, he like has an opportunity to get some leverage over him. And the guy brings up this RS-29 form and he's like, "Oh, you know, you're going to like pull out one of those RS-29 forms and you're going to put all this on the front page of the paper. Like, what do you want?" Like he's just basically like trying to figure out how can I get you out of here. And Trey is really smart, really savvy, and he's like, "Oh, this man is nervous about something called an RS-29." And he kind of like follows the breadcrumbs and finds out that an RS-29 is a rent strike and that these landlords' biggest fear is a rent strike. And so he lies and he says, "Yeah, I'm putting on a rent strike."
And is backed
And
by the ACLU.
right, that's backed by the ACLU. Um, and of course, all of that is a lie. But he goes to his good friend Rustin, who is just an elite level organizer. And Rustin kind of helps him strategize and say, like, yeah, you started with a lie, but like we can figure out how to make this rent strike a reality. And shout out to the librarian also who helped him understand the forms and understand what it takes to stage a rent strike. Yeah, between the two of them, they gave him the information on how to do all of this. And he goes from starting with a lie of like posing a rent strike to actually going through the process of posing a rent strike and galvanizing all of all of the tenants in his building. And I think, I mean, I don't know if in that chapter he got the support of the ACLU officially. I think at this point he's just collecting signatures,
Yeah,
but
no, he
it's
doesn't have any support.
yeah.
Mm-mm.
But he has to get the signatures first and then
Yes.
from there, which he is doing. And so hopefully he ends up getting like legitimate support. But yeah, it's a lesson in like, you know, it might start with a lie, but you know, from that quote unquote lie, you can like actually like spark a movement. So, lesson 5, a big lie can build character. And the quote that I took away from that was, however, the most valuable thing he gave me, he being Bayard Rustin, was his personal assurance, built on a lifetime as a political radical. That all great activists start off as young people who don't really know what the hell they're doing. Our mouths give voice to goals, dreams, and even lies. Ultimately, we will be judged on our follow through, on our ability to turn our stirring words into a reality. My cause was born out of a lie, but a lie can be the spark that leads to virtue.
Yes.
Mhm.
I love it. It's so
Yeah.
good. I'm so excited that I can start reading chapter 6.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah. I think for this one, it's just like, sometimes you got to talk the talk before you walk the walk,
yeah.
like, I mean, I think to that point, like it holds him accountable. Like it was like a different level of accountability, being like, oh, I created this. I got to back it up now somehow. But it really like got him into action. And I think that it was like a really life changing, like pivotal moment for his young life.
It is interesting though that he grows up around politics and
Mm,
somehow ends up spiraling into that place.
hmm
Because you could tell he wants to go as far from it. He wants to work in radio. He wants to
hmm
be like nowhere near
hmm
that space, and yet here he is
hmm
in that space.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I have a couple. I have a couple of like final
Yeah.
thoughts
Please.
about no, did you I just didn't want to like jump in, but I had two big things
hmm
because I'm a lover girl and I don't know, it's just something about Gregory and Trey that I want to become this friends to lovers
Hmm.
because Gregory is just like in these destructive, unhealthy situationships. And it's
hmm
like, I don't think Gregory actually knows what he wants other than money and access and to be wanted.
hmm
And I know this isn't a book, and this book isn't about Gregory, but I think Gregory really shapes who Trey is and becomes,
hmm
especially because Trey is secretly pining after this dude. Like that
hmm
Prince show, we didn't talk about it, but like he's in love with his best friend.
hmm
And so I don't know.
Ooh,
I
is that
know
a prediction?
yes, I know you brought in predictions even though I'm terrible at predictions and so I want them to turn into a friends to lovers. Yes, that is one of
Okay.
my predictions. And then one thing that just was interesting to me is
Yeah.
something that I did not know. I
Yeah.
love when books teach me things
Yeah.
and especially fiction books,
hmm
because usually, it's meant to not be so factual. But
hmm
and I was gonna find the article because I think they kind of reference something. I did not know that on this earth,
Hmm.
that gay couples would adopt their partners in
Yeah.
the 70s and 80s just to get some sort of legal rights and coverage for them.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I don't think I did either. I didn't know you could adopt an adult. Just
Well,
like
wait, are they adults though? Because some of these dudes be talking to little
Well,
boys.
he said I think Rustin, it was Rustin's partner that
Yeah.
he had adopted, who I'm pretty sure was was an adult. At
Y-
least legally over
You
the age of 18.
maybe,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I know that like you can be on your parents' insurance up until 25.
Hmm.
So they
Yeah.
could be an adult, but still, you know,
Young,
be
quite young.
youngish. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was like, I wanted to know more about that. And it's just interesting to me because of how gay rights are obviously actively being stripped after
Yeah.
these fights in the 70s and 80s to get these rights. And now a lot of this stuff is
Hmm.
inevitably being rolled back. So, I
Yeah.
think it's just interesting to know that history because
Yeah.
we need to know
Yeah, that
things.
was really interesting to me. Yeah, the kind of like legal loopholes that people had to jump through. I did Google and it says that you can't. Google's AI overview says, yes,
Oh
you can
God.
legally adopt an adult, creating a parent-child relationship, often to formalize existing bonds or for inheritance and estate planning. The requirements allowed states vary. So yeah, that's really interesting. I wonder what it, yeah. I am curious. I am curious about that. But yeah, it is interesting to know that that was like a thing that happened. It was like relatively common, it sounds like. Yeah. Yeah.
So any predictions or final thoughts for you on the chapters 1 through 5?
Hmm. At this point, I don't really have any. I am curious how successful this rent strike will turn out, and will Trey get the support of the ACLU? I want to say that he will. Like, I feel just really optimistic about this, and I feel like he's gonna like stick it to his landlord, and he's gonna, win the situation. Win the situation. I don't know. That sounded weird, but I feel like, yeah, the strike is gonna work out.
Yeah, I do think he's gonna struggle with other
Mm.
tenants though, and getting
Mhm.
them to
On
agree to not
board
pay their rent because
and to actually stick with it. Yeah.
I think that's what Rustin said was the hardest part, or maybe it was the
Yeah.
librarian. One of the two said that like
Right.
it is hard to get people to actually not pay their rent. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I'm like I said, I'm focused on the love, but sure, get that money,
Yeah.
honey, or not have to pay your rent. But we are close to wrapping up. We're gonna try to be nice and tight. I doubt we
Hmm.
get there, but we're gonna try to keep our shows under 2 hours.
For sure. I think we did
And
pretty good though. Yeah.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
close. Over an hour probably, but certainly under 2 hours.
yeah, goodish. But we before we close out, we have a new segment this
Yeah.
season. And because we're Words in the Wild and because we really want to focus on mental health and wellness, we want to leave you all with some motivational words. So this segment is called Words of the Week, and we are just going to share a clip of someone throughout the week that we thought they had inspiring words and that it was, something that you should live by or think about. And this week, these words come from Miss Jill Scott. She was on Angie Martinez's show IRL. And if you don't know, she's actually coming out with a new album
Ooh.
next month. So, first in like over 10 years, like
Wow.
maybe 20 years. It's been a while. So,
Wow.
I'm really excited. I'm just going to play you all this clip and yeah, we'll close out the show.
So the plan is, well, it was and still is, that you work hard in your 20s, you work smart in your 30s, you work how you want to in your 40s, you work when you want to in your 50s, and you work if you want in your 60s. That came really early, and that's the way that I'm planning my life.
And that is the way I am planning my life.
Heck
Oh
yeah.
my
Oh,
God.
yeah.
Speak that, speak. I just felt that so much. I'm like, damn, I did do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't made it to all those numbers yet, but you know,
Yeah.
I I just want to live by that
Hmm.
motto. So that really
Yeah.
hit for me. And I hope it,
Cool.
resonated for somebody out there too.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing.
And I'll link the
Well,
full episode. Y'all should definitely watch the full episode because
yeah.
I just love when she speaks. She's so
Mm.
poetic.
Yeah. We do love Miss Jill Scott. Um, yeah, and what an amazing vocalist also. I think I saw her live at Afropunk, I want to say. She's pretty incredible.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, some bangers. Oh my God. Wow. I might have to put that on while I like make my lunch. Let's take a long walk. Oh my
Yes.
God. Cool. Well, yeah, this has been another episode of Words in the Wild. Thanks so much for joining us. I really hope you enjoyed the discussion. Yeah, I'm stoked about this book. It's Spoiler alert, I have read this book before, but I read it like, I guess when it came out in 2022. So I don't actually remember
Yeah, so you
what
can't do no
happens.
predictions, you cheater.
I don't actually remember what happens though. So that's shout out to my memory. But yeah, so I am like really stoked to be reading it again because I do the one thing that I do remember was when I read it, it I don't know. It was like one of my favorite books at the time and like really resonated with me. And I think it's like hitting in an even more profound way, like, being like in my 30s and having a little bit more life experience. So yeah, I'm really excited about this book. It just feels special. Like it warms my heart. It feels like a little treat every time I get to like sit down and read it. So yeah, I'm excited and I hope you're reading along with us. And yeah, we're glad you're joining us on this journey.
Yeah, and be sure to join our book club. So visit our website in the show notes, join the club, connect with us. We're really excited. Like we said, we're going to try to do some in-person events this year between our locations. I'm really trying to do a DMV event as well. And so, just ride with us. And you can
Mhm.
also now follow us on social media, Instagram and TikTok in particular, and YouTube. We are Words in the Wild Pod. So, Words with an S in the Wild Pod on most social media platforms. So, follow us, follow us, follow us. And yeah, thank you again for coming back for season 2. We hope you enjoy it.
Yay. See you next time.
Words in the Wild, an adventure and wellness podcast produced by First Outdoor Company. Subscribe now and be sure to follow us on social media at Words in the Wild Pod.